Today's podcast should be very interesting. We will be exploring the different parenting styles of millennials and baby boomers. What made the parenting styles of baby boomers more or less successful than the parenting styles of millennials? What things could be done differently, and even the reasoning behind these parenting styles. So let's get into it. Thank you for agreeing to do this interview with me, Randa. I appreciate it.
It's not a problem.
Okay. So just have a few questions about how we were raised and how our parents even came to conclude to parent the way that they did. So what were some of the shifts in parenting that you have noticed since you were a child compared to today?
A shift I notice is that we as parents today, we try not to be as hard on our kids as our parents was on us.
Yeah, I can agree with that. And even I would say that's something that has carried from even when I was a child. And my mom, she's in that baby boomer age group. But that's one of the main things that she always stressed, that she didn't want to be hard on me or as hard on me as her mother was because of how hard she was. But then with her not being hard on me or not holding me accountable in certain areas, it crippled me, so to speak. So that was a good answer. What are some other changes that you see compared to how we were parented by our grandparents or older parents versus how we parent our children today?
I believe one of the main changes is that we as parents today, we actually try to understand our children a little more than what our parents did with us. I'm trying to understand with us because with us growing up, we didn't have no say so. We couldn't express how we felt with things. And now it's us as parents giving our kids that grace to express how they feel about certain things or to tell how they feel about certain things. I mean, not saying like they have a right to be like disrespectful, but they do have a voice to where we can sit down and try to understand situations a little more with them than what our parents did with us.
Mm-hmm. And I can agree with that because certain things that my daughter now will ask me, like why, asking the question why, when I was growing up, why was not acceptable. It was not okay. My mom was not trying to hear, me asking those questions. It was immediate a spanking or I was in trouble if I asked, questions because it was, like I said, it was seen as disrespectful. So I know you was raised by your grandparents, your grandma, your granddad. What do you think shaped or what happened in their lives that shaped their parenting styles?
I think what happened in their lives was just the experiences they went through growing up and the era that they grew up in. Because a lot of that era that they grew up in was post slavery and segregation days, and a lot of them carried that weight with them through their parenting style. So a lot of them translated that anger and that resentment to how they parent and disciplined us. So I think it's just the era that they grew up in really dictated how they like responded to us and how they treated us, how they disciplined us, and how they just overall parented us.
That's a good point. My mom, looking back in it, she was a really passive parent. Like a lot of things she just overlooked or she just did not deal with at all. And now looking back at it and hearing some of the stories that she would tell me about her mother, her mom spent a lot of time away from the house. She spent a lot of time um, out on the town while her children were home taking care of the house and cooking and doing all of the things. And so that takes me back to how my mom raised me. I was a loner. I spent a lot of time by myself, and my mom never really thought about the fact that maybe I don't need to be alone. Maybe I need, you know, a little bit more one-on-one time with her. And she didn't see it that way because likely because of how she was raised. And then, like I said previously, my mom, um, looking back at it, I can kind of see how she crippled me. Now that I'm 35, I can, there's things that I did not learn or that I'm still trying to learn as a 35-year-old that I believe that I could have learned if my mom were more hands on and didn't leave me to be independent and fend for myself. And to her defense, maybe in her day, that was something that was okay. It was acceptable for children to be left alone to learn how to take care of a home or to learn how to cook and clean and do all of those things because that was the day that they were in. But it just didn't, looking back at it, it did not benefit me well to be left alone and to have to figure things out because honestly, some of those things I never figured out. I just kind of skated through. Like, um, I taught myself a lot of times how to cook. I saw her doing it. It's not that she taught me, it's just that I saw her doing it. And with her not being around, when she wasn't there, here I am, 11 and 12, in the kitchen, unthawing food and trying to prepare it because I'm just trying to figure it out, you know? So I feel like because of how my mom was raised, it caused her to drop a lot of balls with me, to be honest. So, with that said, do you feel the way your grandparents raised you, that it prepared you for your future or for the person you are today or the person that you wanted to be?
No, I don't believe it prepared me because they were strict and all they believed in discipline. And while discipline is good to have, um, sometimes when you're too strict and too disciplined, you get sheltered from the world. It's like you start to see things at a later age than what you should have already seen it at. So, in a sense, I feel that that put me behind with a lot of stuff as far as like my development and trying to get ahead in life because being sheltered from discipline kept me away from like learning or going through experiences that's supposed to teach you in life. So I feel that that really didn't help prepare me for today because strictness and discipline, that's all they did was make sure you worked. And when all you know how to do is work, you don't know how to live in a sense because when you're working so much, it's like you can't enjoy life as you should.
Makes sense. Makes sense. I would have to agree. I don't feel like the way my mom raised me because she was a single parent. Now, me and my dad have a really good relationship, but he wasn't, you know, active in my upbringing. So I feel the way my mom raised me, it definitely, again, it handicapped me. She gave me everything. I rarely had to work for anything. And so as I grew up, I thought that everything would come to me easy. I thought it was going to be handed to me. I thought that um, if I didn't get the thing that I thought I wanted, I would throw these little fits or have an attitude because I'm used to people giving me everything. I'm used to people doing things for me and me not having to work for anything. So, um, honestly, I resented my mom for that because it's like you didn't help prepare me. You wanted to give me the things that you didn't have, but you crippled me. You should have helped me earn it or push me, to be at my best. So do you think the way that you were parented by older older generation, do you think the way they parented you will impact the way that you're parenting your child today?
Yes, it will impact me. And people don't realize that regardless on how you was brought up by your parents, it's gonna always dictate how you raise your kid because it'll either teach you how to or teach you what to do and teach you what not to do. And I think in my instance, a lot of what I learned was what not to do with my kid because I learned not to put so much pressure on my kid at a young age. And I learned not to basically parentify my kid like I was parentified. So,
Wait, say that word again.
parentified
What does that mean?
basically is taking on responsibilities at a young age.
Oh, wow.
So, I feel that since I took on responsibilities at a young age, it caused me to not have certain boundaries in life to where I feel like or people feel like they can always come to me for stuff or all I know how to do is work and not tell people no or it makes me feel like a lot of times that when you take on those type of responsibilities at a young age, it like takes away from your childhood. So in a sense, it's like in the back of your head, you don't want to take away from your kid's childhood. So in my instance, it's like I'm trying to do what I can to make sure she don't have to have those type of responsibilities that I had at a young
Mm-hmm.
age. So she can be able to enjoy her life, experience how it is to be a kid. So whenever she do become an adult and get on her own, she don't have to worry about like, dang, like I've been doing this all my life.
Mm-hmm.
And in a sense, that's how I feel. Like I've been working and having responsibilities all my life. And in the back of my head, it's like, dang, it's like I can't look back on my childhood and be like reminiscing about it because my childhood was filled with responsibilities and working. So that got me like not wanting that for my kid. That got me to want to be there for my kid as long as I can to where they can just focus on being a kid, focus on their goals and aspirations. So whenever they do get to that type of responsibility that they can enjoy it a lot more.
Well said. I think the way I was parented definitely it will impact the way I parent my child just because I want a healthy balance. They need discipline, but also they need rewards. They need someone to tell them how awesome they are, but they also need someone to say, you know what, you messed that up. You got to do better. They need a little bit of both. And so, honestly, my challenge a lot of times is finding that balance. And even letting her know when she was right or sometimes if I was wrong, which was not something that my mom did growing up. If she got something wrong, you just chuck it up because there's no way she's coming back to say that she's sorry. And I don't want to be that parent. If I got it wrong, I want to be big enough to say, hey, mommy messed this up. I'm really sorry that I messed it up. And let her see what it looks like to take responsibility. So it definitely, the way I was parented by my older mother, it definitely is shaping the way that I parent my child, and also um, how I was able to look in on my mom parenting my brother. So just kind of like on the outside looking in kind of a situation. Not only did she spoil and handicap me, but she did that to my brother as well, just giving him everything and not making him work for anything or wanting to make things easy. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of parents deal with. We want to give our children the things that we didn't have, and we want to make it easy, and we want to make them happy. We want to give them the things and reward them because it makes us happy to make them happy. It makes us happy when they smile. But I feel like older generations, maybe the generation that parented my mom, they were more prone to say, you know what, if you didn't earn it, I'm not giving it to you. You're going to work. You're going to work to attain this. I'm not just going to give it to you, or pushing their children to get a job. And I think that's something that we struggle with because, or that I struggle with because I don't know how I feel about my daughter working in high school, where that was a regular thing when I was growing up for teenagers to get a job and work their way through high school, earn extra money. Now it's not so much. We don't want our children, us millennials, we don't want to even think about our children having a part time job while they go to school. We want them to just go to school and, focus on their grades and focus on extracurricular activities.
And I think it's that way because when we had to work, it wasn't like really working for ourselves. We was working to like help with our household, or
Mm-hmm.
at least in my case, I was helping pay bills and helping take care of things in the household.
Mm-hmm.
So in a sense, it's like if my kid does work, it's like all that money will go to whatever they're trying to save it for or whatever they're trying to use it for. But at the same time, it's like I will establish like a savings for them so they can like start saving. But I'm not gonna be that parent that basically like have them working so they can help me pay bills. And I don't think that's fair because it's not their responsibility to do that. And a lot of times our parents thought they was teaching us responsibility, but they was just in a sense too scared to ask for the help. So they tried to make it seem like a responsibility. And I'm like, it's ways to teach your kid that it's a responsibility without taking from them. And I think taking that from them does more bad than good. So
Hmm. That's a good point. Which leads me to my next question. What is one quality that you think we as millennial parents need to reach back and kind of reclaim from that baby boomer era of parenting? What's one quality that we just kind of need to bottle it up and continue to pass it on from generation to generation?
I just believe in respecting your elders. And a lot of times it'd be hard to respect your elders nowadays because a lot of them disrespectful. And a lot of people believe in the old saying is like respect for respect, but they don't realize that if you disrespect somebody, you're gonna get disrespect back. So I believe just about we should treat each other with respect or treat elders with respect. But I think also the elders need to be something respectful, be something
Mm-hmm.
that those younger generations can respect. Because back in the day, um, elders looked out for the kids, and that's where the saying "it takes a village" came
Mm-hmm.
from.
Mm-hmm.
Because those elders was in place to mold, shape, and prepare those kids.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, it's like these elders can't help out with the kids because they're disrespectful or they're still holding on to past traumas and resentment from life experiences.
Mm-hmm. God, that struck a nerve because I think that's one of the main things that I think about. Just that wisdom and that knowledge and understanding that the older generation had. that is something that we can't afford to just let slip by. Just the wisdom that the old grandmothers would give to the young girls or to the young guys, that's the stuff that honestly I feel it is slowly dwindling. It's slowly dwindling because even the older parents that we have left or the grandparents that we have left, many of them are young minded or they seek to be, it's like they're trying to reinvent themselves so that they remain hip and young and cool, not realizing that we really need them to stay, to just be who they are, just live in their experiences and continue to share those and pass it down because that's their space. That's the space that they need to own. So I think when it comes to uh, parenting and what we need to bottle up from that older generation, those baby boomers, it's that wisdom, it's that understanding, it's that respect that we, just like you said, it's that respect that we had for them. We got to be able to pass that down, and that reverence, not just the respect, but like the reverence that we had for them, because when we were around them, we knew not to say certain things, we knew not to do certain things. If they told us and gave us instructions, we just took it at face value. Many young people now don't even reverence older people. Like, it's no more yes sir, no sir, yes ma'am, I'm gonna do that because Miss so and so told me to. Now is, well, you ain't my mama, you don't tell me what to do. You know, when I was growing up and my older neighbors would say, hey, don't do that because I know your mom wouldn't approve of it. And when I see her, I'm going to tell her. I'm going to tell her what I saw you doing. I respected that. I honored those neighbors, even though they weren't my parents, but they had a say in my life because they were part of the community. So that is one of the major things that I hope and I pray that we're able to continue to continue to pass along and maybe bottle it up so it doesn't die. Okay, and this is my final question. What is the main difference you see from millennial parents, between the difference between millennial parents and the baby boomer parents?
I think the main difference between baby boomer parents and millennial parents is that baby boomer parents let life experiences dictate how they operate with their children, whereas us as millennials, we want our kids to just experience life. So we try our best to make sure that whatever we went through, our kids don't have to go through that again. And really, to explain it a little more, basically baby boomers, a lot of how they raised us was based off of their own turmoil or their own emotions, their own frustrations, and a lot of times that came out as us. But us as parents, we try to make sure we don't let life experiences basically control how we run our kids. So in a sense, it's like we want them to experience life, but at the same time, those baby boomers let it life experiences control how they took their frustration out on us.
Okay, I can see that in many different scenarios. I can see that. I think when it came to the uh, more so baby boomer parents, they weren't trying to earn our respect. I feel like a lot of times, even I struggle, and many of us as millennial parents, we struggle. We want our children to like us. We want our children to uh, think that we're the fun parent. Like we care about what our children think about us. We care too much. So much so that when we go on the field trip, we want to dress cool because we want our children's friends to deem us to be cool. Whereas those baby boomer parents, they did not care what we thought about them. They did not care if we liked them. They didn't care if they hurt our feelings. They just knew that okay, they were laying down the instructions and we better follow. Like they weren't looking to be our friends. And that is a reoccurring theme, a common thing that I see um, in the life of many millennial parents around me and even me. I honestly struggle because I want my child to like me. I don't want to be the mean parent. I don't. So that's a big difference. And I think that's a deal breaker because it's at some point there has to be a shift where we're not moved by what our children think about us. Of course, yes, we don't want to do things that um, you know, make our children hate us, but we have to draw the line and stop caring so much about what they think about us and just know that we're doing what's in their best interest. So you got anything else you want to share?
Um, no, nothing I have to share. Thank you for the discussions and thank you for the questions that made me really think more. So that was it.
Very good. This will conclude our discussion on the differences between parenting styles of millennials and baby boomers, the importance or the necessity of both of those generations and how those two generations can come together to uh, bring about the world's best children and parenting in the best way. Because one of the best ways to move forward is to first know about our past.